morning, sunshine. Hey, pro tips for paras. We are on day number 4, yoga, stretching, personal challenge for ourselves, and hopefully you guys are following along too. We are back on the floor today and going to do a very relaxing session this morning with Sierra Roth as our guider, and I will let her take it away.
Alright, so next we are going to slowly go down to our backs. So you can do this in a couple different positions. Tanelle is going to do more of a butterfly style with her legs, and I'm going to try and attempt to put my feet up so that I can sit nice and propped. I notice I can get a little more breath out of this when I do that. So Tanelle's making her way down.
Grab those floppy legs. Wait for the spasms to give it up. There we go.
Alright, so from here, we're going to do some big deep breaths, imagining a string being pulled up to the ceiling from your stomach. So we're going to breathe in and breathe out. Again, imagining your stomach going right into the ground. Breathing in and out. Grounding into the floor. Breathing in and exhaling out through the mouth. Breathing in and exhaling down through the ground. I'll do a couple more breaths here on your own.
Just breathing and sinking into the floor.
And then on that exhale, we're going to raise the arms up to the ceiling. And we're going to imagine someone pulling our wrists up towards the ceiling, taking the shoulder blades off the mat, driving all the way up as far as you can go. And then on the exhale, we're going to push our shoulder blades down and into the ground. Driving those shoulder blades down, back onto the mat. Before we inhale and pull all the way back up to the ceiling, lifting those shoulder blades off.
Lifting up towards the ceiling, not up towards your ears.
And exhaling down towards the ground. Lifting up towards that ceiling, lifting up. Big inhale and then exhale down into the ground. Feeling those shoulder blades along the ground before we lift back up towards the sky, reaching even further this time. And then back down into the ground. Reaching up. And big exhale down into the ground. And from here we're going to exhale. One hand is going to go above, one hand is going to go down towards your feet. Pushing those shoulder blades back into the ground. We're going to feel a little bit of a stretch here. And exhale back to center. Before we switch directions, one arm going up above our heads, the other going down towards our feet. Feeling that stretch along the sides before we exhale and come back down to center. Inhale, switching directions, going nice and slow. Reaching as far as we can here.
And if you can't get your arm all the way over your head, say because of shoulder issues, don't push it too far, but still get that good stretch.
And returning to center. And we're gonna relax here. And exhale. Now from here, we're gonna grab our legs. So Tanelle's just, grabbing them from the ground. I'm gonna get up and grab them. So we'll take a second to get position here before we go back to our backs. And from here, we're gonna squeeze our knees in towards our chest if we can. If we can't get them that close, that's okay. We're gonna place our hands either at our ankles, at our knees, underneath our knees before we start rolling from side to side. So from here, we're thinking about breathing and getting some length in our spine as we roll along the ground. Going at your own pace.
If you can't tell. So Sierra, without the hardware in her back, so the fusion where she has her spinal cord injury, is able to rotate a little bit easier than I am fused. So I let my legs sort of flop back and forth, pushing a little bit with my elbows and my arms in order to get that clockwork motion. And it doesn't always feel very fluid.
You're gonna feel a little bit of pressure down through your spine here, and that's okay, as long as there's no pain. As you're doing this, start thinking about leading with your head so that you can get a little more control and let the weight of the legs help you roll from one side to the other. Taking a nice couple big breaths here before we let one leg down to go into a modified Thomas stretch. Taking one knee to the chest, letting those spasms out if we need. Holding either at the ankles, at the knee, or underneath the knee, whatever works for you. And we're going to sit here and hold this stretch, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're laying here on the ground. We're thinking about our breathing. So big inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth as we ground. Feeling that stretch along the lower back.
As you breathe in, think about grounding into the ground. And then on your exhale, just working on your range, you can pull that knee a little bit closer to yourself. Feel that stretch. Don't overdo it.
And then exhale, we're going to relax our leg and grab our other one, whatever that looks like for you.
That looks super relaxed. Oh, there it is.
Grabbing that leg, going back to our back, getting comfortable, making sure that knee is aligned with our hip. grabbing wherever we need to, ankle, under the knee, at the knee. Letting those spasms out as we bring our knee to our chest and start thinking about breathing again. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Grounding through the ground. Feeling that breath through the spine as we start feeling that stretch a little more. And if we can, bringing that knee nice and close to our chest to get a little more of a stretch.
So I have a scoliotic curve that pushes my hips out of alignment, so you'll notice more than Sierra, I'm adjusting myself constantly for alignment.
And we're exhaling and coming back up to center. Bringing both our legs out in front of us. This next movement, we're going to go into a butterfly type position, bringing our feet towards each other, pressing into each other. So you can bring your feet closer towards you if you can, otherwise you can stay out a little further here like Tanelle is. We're going to sit nice and tall, sitting on top of our hip bones. And then from here we're going to bring our chin down to our chest, lowering our neck down towards our feet, and then coming back up to center, bringing our eyes gaze up to the ceiling, lengthening the spine as we do this. Big breath here as we exhale back down to center. Going back down towards our feet, tucking the chin in as we go to our toes. And then exhaling, coming back up to center. And then going all the way up to the ceiling. Get as much of a stretch as we can here. Sitting nice and tall as we go back to center. Next we're going to tilt. So we're bringing one ear down to the shoulder. Opposite shoulder is going to be nice and relaxed here. Feeling that stretch along the neck as we go from center down to the other side. Making sure we're breathing here, as a lot of people are normally pretty tight. And returning back to center before we go to the opposite side. Remembering to sit nice and tall, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Returning to center and tilting to the other side. And then from here we're going to roll, so we're going to keep that chin tucked, rolling in front to the opposite side.
Again, making sure you keep your shoulders away from your ears.
Breathing here as we roll from one side to the other. Notice we're going nice and slow, not making any kind of jerky movements. Just feeling that range in our neck before we exhale and come back to center.
Feeling the range in your neck before the muscles pull off your bones.
Next, we're going to place our hands behind us. Getting nice and comfortable here. And we're going to start doing a nice chest lift up towards the ceiling. Eye gaze is going up so that we get some length in our neck. Shoulder blades in our back pockets. We're going to hold this here, taking one more breath as we exhale, tucking the chin in, rolling through the vertebrae, going down as far as we can go. So Tanelle and I have a lot of range here, so we're going to start going down towards our feet, getting that nice C curve in the spine. We can come down to our forearms if we can, lowering that neck as best as possible. Inhale. And exhale. Taking one more breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Exhaling back to center. As we lengthen the spine here. Lifting the chest up to the ceiling as we also bring our eye gaze, lengthening that neck.
Shoulders away from your ears.
And as we breathe here, thinking about breathing up through the spine, down through the tailbone. And placing our hands back down at center to reset. You know, grabbing some coffee here. And getting comfortable before we move into our next move. So we're placing one hand to the side, other hand is going up and overhead, over the head, making sure your armpit and forearm are up to the ceiling. We're not going up in front of us. Lengthening so we get some stretch along the side here, leaning towards that side if we need to.
I'm balancing on my forearm on the ground. It's harder when I just plant my hand.
Finding balance here.
Pulling all those muscles off your ribs.
Breathing. Feeling that breath up and along the one side. And then exhaling, coming back to center before we move to the other side. So reset. Take your other hand behind you or forearm. Stretching up and overhead. Finding balance here as we stretch to the other side. Getting as much length as we can. Making sure that armpit, forearm are up to the ceiling and not in front of us.
Armpit to the ceiling.
Exhaling and coming back to center. Sitting up nice and tall. As we bring one foot out straight in front of us, keeping one bent. Sitting up on our hip bones as we slowly walk towards the one leg that is straight with our hands. If we can here, we're going all the way down to our toes, forearms on the ground, lowering the head when we get down here. Otherwise, we can stay just nice and propped up on our hands.
So I use my right elbow along my right knee to make sure it stays in alignment. My hips want to splay, and my legs will naturally fall outwards and not straight in front of me.
And as we're down here, we're thinking about breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, as we feel that breath up and along the spine.
Down through your lower back. Any tightness in hamstring. Sierra, you look like a ballerina.
Thanks. And exhale, we're going to slowly walk back up with our hands, resetting, and then switching legs. So the other leg's going to be bent, and the other leg's going forward. We're going to slowly walk down to our toes again, going to our forearms and then lowering our head if we can. Notice when we come down here, we're going nice and slow.
And then fighting with my knees and toes. Keeping everything as straight as I can as they try and fight me and do whatever they want.
Breathing here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feeling that breath along the spine. Feeling our weight pressed into the ground.
Deep breaths. Don't let this position limit your intake of oxygen. What do you say? If you can't breathe, you've gone too far?
Exhale and return to center. We are going to extend both our legs here now.
Once the spasms stop.
Sitting up nice and tall.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Sierra. We are going to finish our short yoga stretch morning routine in shavasana position, lying down on your back. And as we start our day today, just be grateful of everybody in your life and everything that you have going for you right now. Your health, your happiness, your friends, your family, breakfast, coffee, whatever you want. So we're going to lie back and you can stay here as long as you like. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. Hit that thumbs up, the subscribe button, the little bell. These are going to show up for you every morning until we can't do it anymore, and our goal